National 3, Unit 2, Nature's Chemistry, Topic 1, Fuels and Energy. In this, we look at the three substances required for a fire. We explain how to control different fires using the fire triangle. We should be able to state that fires require different specific methods of treatment. We should be able to identify the gas test for oxygen, carbon dioxide and hydrogen. And we should be able to give advantages and disadvantages for different types of fuels. A fuel is anything that will burn in oxygen, i.e. combine with oxygen, to release energy. For a fire to happen, as you can see from the fire triangle, you're going to need oxygen from the air, you're going to need heat from any sort of source like a match, and you're going to need a fuel for actually to burn. As you can see from the table, for controlling fires, we're looking at taking one of those three things away. So a water fire extinguisher will take away the heat. A foam fire extinguisher would take away the oxygen, as would say a fire blanket or CO2 extinguishers. These obviously have to be carefully chosen when they're looking for their use. You wouldn't want to use a water extinguisher on an electric fire. You would look for something like a CO2 extinguisher for that. There are many other energy resources, not really fuels because they're not burning them. Things like hydroelectric, geothermal, wind and wave and stuff. These all have various positives and negatives, advantages and disadvantages to each. The table in the notes will give you those advantages. Have a read through it and try to remember at least 2 or 3 for any exam. We also need to be able to remember what's called the gas tests. There are 3 basic ones. The first one for hydrogen is that it will burn with a squeaky pop. The second one for oxygen. This will relight a glowing splint. So you light a splint, shake it so it's just red, there's no flame, put it into the oxygen, it will relight it. And the third one for carbon dioxide, remember how you'd write carbon dioxide as a formula, which would be capital C, capital O, and this subscript 2, is that it will turn lime water milky or cloudy when it's bubbled through it. Attached are some questions with textbook answers for you to have a look at and consider. These are the sort of questions that could be in exams. Topic 2, everyday consumer products. In this we're looking at why fertilisers are used in farming. We need to be able to describe trends from results, calculate an average, describe the test for starch, and look at the harmful effects of consuming alcohol. Fertilisers are required for the most obvious of reasons. There are 8 billion people living on the planet at present, and we need to make sure that we can grow enough food to feed those 8 billion. Fertilisers are required by plants because they can require various chemicals, main ones being things like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, to help the plant grow. When a plant grows, it makes starch, or it stores the material that it makes as starch. And we can test for this by adding iodine, a brown chemical, to it, which will turn black if starch is present. Alcoholic drinks are effectively made by adding yeast, which is a living organism, to a liquid containing lots of sugar, generally from fruit and the like, and the yeast will digest the sugar to give you alcohol and carbon dioxide. In effect, alcohol is yeast pee. Now, this method of producing alcohol is called fermentation. If you look in the notes, you will see that various different alcoholic drinks have different levels of alcohol present. And as well as the obvious, too much alcohol can impair things like driving and cause accidents and all things. It can actually damage your body's health. Things like what's called cirrhosis of the liver and harm brain cells are all problems with alcohol. You can also see there's a few more questions there for you to have a look at relating to this topic. Topic 3, products from plants. In this, we'll look at the different uses of plants and herbs, as well as extracting information from graphs and tables. That's a standard sort of question now that's in national qualifications. Cosmetic products have been used for thousands of years. These often have to contain oils and ointments and material from plants. These are generally in the form of what's called essential oils. As you can see from the table, there are various given. For the test, I would look to learn at least 3 or 4 on the grounds that the questions generally give you one and ask you about others. The questions to consider in the notes here are the sort of thing we're on about peppermint and spearmint mint toothpaste, etc. As well as food and building material, plants have also given us things like medicines. Willow bark gave us aspirin, been used for thousands of years. The opium poppy, eventually, after opium and heroin, gave us morphine, one of the best painkillers you're ever going to have. The questions in the notes are about being able to identify and extract information from diagrams and tables. These are becoming quite common questions whereby the information is given to you, but you need to be able to read the table or the diagram to extract that information to give it an answer back.